Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the Corner Bookstore. We are super excited to welcome one of our own team members. Ann Scottlin is here. Before we bring her out and celebrate her new book launch, let's welcome the star of our show. It's DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. Welcome.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN. Great to see you.
I feel like I haven't seen you forever, and it's just been the last show we just did together about children's books, too. That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So a fun Thursday.
Definitely. And I love when we have our team members together. Ann's going to be coming out in just a second. DIANN, tell us about the work that you do as an international award-winning author, the queen of networking. I mean, you know everyone, and I've seen your pictures. I didn't get a chance to comment yet, but you've lived all over the world as well.
I don't know about that. There's so many other places I need to see. But thank you. I love to write books to inspire not just the children, but the parents that are reading the stories or their loved one, grandmas, uncles, etc. And my books deal with loving yourself, being kind, peace, and knowing that you have a very special purpose in life. So hopefully, anyone who reads those books will be inspired, not just to the person they're reading, but maybe within their own life themselves.
Fantastic. And the illustrations are always magnificent.
Thanks. Well, I've done some of them, but really it's having these amazing professional illustrators who've done, just brought magic to my stories is awesome. So thank you for saying that.
They can see them right here. Here are some of your books. Look, I did that the right way.
Look at you. That's right.
Well, DIANN, as you know, we have Ann Scottlin backstage, and she, I think, came here to this show, and since then, so much has happened. So I really want to thank Nikki Mickelson. I really want to thank Ann. Let's bring her out and hear her story. Welcome.
Hi, lovely ladies. Hi, DIANN. Hi, Dr. JACALYN.
Hi. Isn't this where it all started, Ann?
It is literally. This was my first show that I was a guest on here on USA Global Television and Radio, and had such an amazing time connecting with you all, and yeah, just kind of went from there.
And now you have your own show. Tell us about that.
Yes. So my show is a very interesting show about inclusive spirituality, and it's called I'm Spiritual ... but I'm Spiritual but. And it's a conversation, a global conversation about spirituality in a safe and inclusive space. We're not pushing any particular agenda. It's for religious people, non-religious people, people who just want to talk about what has worked in their life to make them feel spiritually whole, connected, abundant, whether that's to the divine, higher self, your inner genius, whatever you want to call that. And we've had some absolutely magnificent guests. It's a talk show, and my co-host, Dr. Roger Leslie, and I have just really enjoyed hearing people from all walks of life and their journey. And it's just so fascinating to learn from them. So it's been an absolutely wonderful experience and very well received. So we're excited to just keep going.
Fantastic. And we're excited for you. And I think an interesting topic, which we're not going to talk about now, and it could be controversial, is about how to teach children spirituality, how to let children make a decision about what works for them, so we don't end up decades later going, right? So But today we're here to talk about your new book.
Yes.
And it's quite beautiful. We're going to bring it up, but tell us. So you published your first book, which I have right here, if I can reach it.
Oh, yay. Live
It's
for
so
joy.
Live for
beautiful.
joy, right? We have
Live
this
for joy.
here. And now you've branched out into a children's book. Tell us about how you went from this beautiful, absolutely stunning book, how you decided to take another path to actually work with children.
Well, Live for Joy was born during COVID as, a reason for us to find our joy in a very dark time. And, really an emotional and motivational book to connect us to our true self, to empower us, to inspire us. And why not have that for kids as well? And so I came across another organization. It's called JOYELY, JOYELY, like I walk joyily along, joyely.com. And the founder of that organization is Scottlin. And I invited her to come to one of my retreats. And so she came to one of the retreats. And before that, I had hopped on a few of her calls and watched a few of her podcasts about the work she was doing with an emotional wellness tool she calls the Chair of Joy. Now, what's super fun about this is it's an actual chair. So what we're teaching is a process, but it's an actual chair that she tours all over the country. And I've toured with her. We've toured in New York. We've had absolutely incredible reception. We load up this giant, like 6-7 foot tall, white throne-looking chair with gold trim in the back of the van, and we take it to family organizations, to professional businesses, to schools. And as this was going on, I actually joined her on her one of her subsequent tours, which was the launch of the Kids Chair of Joy. So we teach a 1-minute practice to really connect to your joyful self. And we might even do it here during the show because it's that easy. And so as I was flying to this retreat of mine that she was coming to as a guest, I thought, you know what, there's a kids chair. This could be so amazing. And I had learned her technique at that point. So on the plane, I wrote this kids book. And I was so excited when I landed because I was like, I can't wait to read this for her at the retreat, which I did. And it was so well received. She got so excited and right away said, can I add my name? Can we co-author? Can I help distribute this? We'll put it, out with the Kids Chair of Joy. So that's kind of how the book was born. And it's just taken off from there. It's up on Amazon now, but the official launch date is April 7. So if anyone wants to give us a boost in our numbers on launch, it's April 5, 6, and 7 that we're actually launching it. But she just did an incredible event last Saturday for a YMCA with, I think, over 1,000 families came to basically, I don't know what you would call it as a YMCA, but kind of like a trade show event where there were the booths and books and all kinds of things for kids, emotional, physical wellness. And so she set up her grown-up chair of joy, the kids' chair of joy. She had the book out on the table. She had her hardcover already and got some amazing pictures. And if I could just, I wish I could just drop the video in, maybe some other time. The kids' testimonials she gets all the time, and that she got last Saturday. Kids who have been bullied, kids who suffer from severe anxiety or depression. They use this tool as basically a self-wellness tool. It's sort of a self-soothing tool if you want to be more technical. And what we teach is your chair of joy is a special seat that you pick at home. And you can sit anywhere, anytime at school, at your desk, on the bus, in the park, on the playground, and just sit down for a minute and do this practice and reconnect to yourself. So it's been really exciting to see how much kids love it and how thrilled their parents have been about it.
Wow, that's powerful.
That is powerful. By the way, I'm digging your nails. I love it. What do you have,
I know,
what do you have going on?
My Easter nails. Yes, you've got little, they're going to fund the green screen. I've got little gold on them though.
Oh, how pretty. Very nice.
So lovely.
I love it. I love it.
You said how you wrote the story on the plane. You know, that was just total inspiration. It was meant to be. And, you know, kudos to you that you listen to your inspirational people, which I call angels, but you might have a different term.
Angels is good. Isn't that interesting though, when you just know you're in flow, like you absolutely know, you get an idea, which I hadn't had till I sat on the plane, and I literally wrote the whole time, revised it, and I was just in that energetic space where it just flowed out. Like I didn't sit around, I didn't plan it, I didn't think about it. And it turned out to have a very powerful, poignant message. And it was just, I love that. And so, yes, when I talk about I'm spiritual, but on the other show, but to me, that's one of those spiritual experiences when you're in your creative flow. It's one of our highest self as authors, as artists, as creators. It's when we're the closest thing to the divine or connected to that power of creation. And when we know we're connected, it's not hard work. It's not stressful. It just comes out. And, you know, I like to say, let's move towards that.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure. And I know you're going to be showing us your book, hopefully reading from it. But before that, many times we know we should be joyful because we have so much to be happy about. But I don't know what it is, if it's hormones for women, I don't know. But how can we make that transition? You said you have an exercise that we might be able to do?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And again, this is from the company I cooperate with, which is JOYELY, JOYELY.com. If you want to check it out, you can find out so much more there. And this process was created by JACALYN, who's the founder of that organization. So what we do is, you know, I'm picturing when we were at one of the huge parks in New York City during a band event, and we had the chair set up. We had the adult chair, we had the kids chair, and we just kind of recruiting people off the sidewalks to come check it out. You know, they kind of hang back, they kind of look at it. They're like, I want to sit in that. That looks like a throne, which is kind of fun. And so whether they're adults or kids, so we'll just say we're adults here in this room. So we'll do the adult version. So we welcome them, we have them sit down, get them comfortable. And then so there's really just 4 simple steps, and it takes about a minute if you'd like to do it with me. So first, sit down, you know, kind of get grounded, ground your feet, relax, sit into the chair, and then take 2 or 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes, just relax. All is good. One more deep breath. Now I want you to take a moment with your eyes still closed and think of a time in your life where you experienced an incredible amount of joy. This could be a special place. This could be a special event. This could be with a special person. This could be from when you were a kid or any time in your life. Can you think of a time when you really were in that place of pure, utter, childlike joy? And once you find that memory, which is the second step, which is, well, sit, breathe, think. So we're thinking now. Once you find that memory, I want you to call up in your body what that felt like. Like what that really felt like in that moment. And if it brings a smile to your face, let yourself smile and just sit in it. Because that beautiful sensation is something you can bring to your heart, to your mind, your life every day, any place, at any time. So just sit with it for another couple seconds. Bring it to your space today. And when you're done, you can open your eyes. And then I usually ask them a couple questions. So I would say, so DIANN, what was the thought or memory that came up for you?
You know, 3 different ones really popped in my mind, but then I decided to concentrate When I was a little girl, I loved playing on the swing set and imagining and talking and so forth. And so, and looking at the clouds. And so I was just replaying, swinging and climbing, and it was fun.
I love
really,
that.
thank you so much. That was pretty powerful.
Isn't that beautiful? I was on a swing too, just saying. I was about 5 and I was on a swing that my dad made. It was like a wooden swing with ropes, kind of the old fashioned kind of swing that he hung up under a tree in our backyard. And he was pushing me, and it was like a beautiful spring day. And I've always loved that feeling of sort of flying and weightlessness, right?
Yes, exactly.
Everything was right in the world. What about you, Jacalyn?
It was actually when I was much older, 2012, when I walked across the stage and got hooded for my doctorate.
Wow.
That was it.
Yes.
And I felt weightless because I had all that pressure off of me 7 years.
Right? You're like, thank goodness.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, I can fly right now.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. So what I want to kind of love to follow that up with is, so I'll show you the book. Now, this is the small paperback version because I haven't had a chance to, I'm going to completely go out of character here, and I'm going to turn my green screen off for a minute so I can really share this with you because it's kind of special. Okay. So this is the book. It's called Share of Joy. This is the small paperback version. The large hardcover is out. I'm waiting for mine. Like I said, it should come tomorrow. I worked closely with an artist, a young professional artist from Belarus who's living in Paris, to do all the illustrations, which is really fun. And this is the back, showing all 4 chairs of joy. And here's a little dog, which was part of my inspiration. I don't know, probably just because I love dogs. So I'm just going to read to you. It's super short. I might even just read it. There's a picture of a beautiful kingdom. It's a little dark and cloudy, though. So it says, not far, whoops, there we go. There once was a kingdom, not far away, but very near to where you live. The kingdom had a king and a queen, and the king had a little princess, and the queen had a little prince, too. They all lived together in a dreary castle, and they were all very sad. They were sad because they had no joy and they had no smiles. So here we have a family portrait of what is going on here. Sometimes they had a serious face. Sometimes they had a mad face. Sometimes they had a worried face. And sometimes they just had a blank face with no feelings at all. There was never any laughter in the castle because there was no joy there. The king and the queen and the princess and the prince had one other difficulty too. In all their castle, they had no chairs. No chairs. The king had no throne, so he had to sit on the stone floor. And the king almost never smiled. The queen had no throne either, so she had to sit on the cold floor too. And the queen almost never had a happy face. The princess had no royal chair, so she had to sit on the hard floor or in the corner. And the princess didn't play or sing very much. The prince had no royal chair either, which meant neither did his puppy, Potts, who always liked to sit on his lap. So the little prince and Potts had to sit on the floor or in the corner, and they both looked very sad. In that whole huge castle, there was no joy and there was no chairs. Then one day, and this was inspired by my friend Sherilyn, who drives not this kind of van, but a van around with this giant chair of joy. Then one day, a very special guest arrived in a great big carriage. This happy guest had heard that everyone in this castle needed some joy and that they also needed some chairs. So the guest opened the huge carriage and their helpers unlocked the helpers unloaded the 2 soft throne chairs, and they also unloaded 2 smaller, very beautiful royal chairs. They knocked on the castle door and said, "We are bringing you some chairs, and we are bringing you some joy. Please unlock the door and let us in." So the king took out his long gold key to the castle door and unlocked it. The door swung open, and in marched the happy guest and the helpers carrying the chair. Whoop, almost it. There we go. We have all four now. Each of the thrones, which are the two big chairs, and the royal chairs were very colorful. And they looked like they would be so very, very fun to sit in. There was something also very unusual thing about the chairs. Do you want to know what it was? All the chairs were magic chairs because something very special happens when you sit in one. And all the chairs had a name. In fact, even though the chairs looked different, they all had the same name. Do you want to know what name was? Each of them was called the Chair of Joy. And the king asked the queen if she wanted to sit in the Chair of Joy. And the queen said, "Yes, I do. They look so soft." And the queen asked the prince if he would like to sit in the Chair of Joy. And the prince jumped up and down and he said, "Oh, can I? Can I? And can Pot sit on my lap?" And the prince asked the princess if she would like to sit in the Chair of Joy. And the princess said, "Yes, please. I love the pretty colors." So the princess sat in her Chair of Joy. And suddenly in her heart, she felt like she wanted to play and sing again, which she never felt like when she used to sit in the corner. The prince sat in the Chair of Joy, and Potts the dog jumped up in his lap, and the prince started laughing out loud. And I think maybe even Potts had a smile on his face too. Their special guest said that they could each use their Chair of Joy forever, whenever they wanted it. And then the princess looked up at the king and tugged on his hand and said, "Would you like to sit in a Chair of Joy too?" And the king said, "Yes, I don't mind if I do." So they each sat down in their Chair of Joy, and a magical thing began to happen. The king started to smile, a huge, big smile. And the queen's face suddenly became more beautiful because she was smiling too. And the queen and the king and the prince and the princess smiled and laughed and hugged each other. They thanked their special guest, and they all smiled goodbye as the huge carriage drove away. For now, not only did their castle have chairs, it now also was full of joy. And every day after, the king and the queen and the princess and the prince and Potts the dog each sat in their Chair of Joy, and their dreary castle wasn't a dreary castle anymore. It was a beautiful castle filled with smiles and laughter because it was a castle filled with joy. And they all lived joyfully ever after.
Wow. Talk about inspiration on a plane.
Well done. Fantastic. I love it. What came up for you as you were reading that, Anne?
It just makes me so joyful. Like I literally just get so happy even just reading it out loud. It's very contagious, and the kids too. I got this picture just yesterday. I'm just going to share it with you if it'll come through because it's so worth it if it did. It was from a friend of mine. There we go. And that had just gotten the book, and somehow she got the hardcover too. And so these aren't actors, these are actual people. Like I know this woman, and this is the picture of her little girl looking at the book.
Aww, so special.
And
look at her face.
I know. I was so warmed with my heart was just warmed. I was like, that was exactly what we want to create. And one of the points of this, among many, is helping parents find an alternative sort of to the timeout. So instead of you're in timeout, it can be, why don't you go sit in your Chair of Joy for a little bit?
I love that.
The process. Why don't I sit in my chair and let's do it together? And resetting instead of making things, kind of the harsh, more disciplined experience. Because as we know, there's so much emotional challenges, even mental illness in children, even. suicide among children. And if we could just teach them some simple tools, if I could have learned a tool like this when I was 5, my life would have been very different.
I agree with you.
I love how you're reframing the whole thing of the timeouts. And so does the chair have to be a certain kind of chair? Does it have to be a new chair that you just go and get, or do you designate the chair if you're, a parent at home?
Yeah. So, so the kid would pick their own space, whatever they appeals to them. It could be their bed. It could be these soft cushions in the corner and a reading corner. It could be any chair. Usually someplace they like to hang out anyway. So the kid would pick that. And then for schools, and also now available to the public, literally, I think just in the last couple of weeks, if people want to do a special Christmas gift or birthday gift, we're now selling the miniature, Cheryl at joyly.com. They're now actually selling the furniture that just looks just like the Chair of Joy for kids that she takes on the road. So it can really be anywhere. And then teaching the process is you can close your eyes. Even if you're at school, you could close your eyes and picture whatever Chair of Joy resonates with you. Maybe it's the one you saw at the event, or maybe it's your fuzzy one with that furry blanket and that stuffed animal at home, and you're not having a great day at school, and you can just go there in your imagination, from sitting anywhere, anytime. So that's kind of the beauty of it, is it goes with you.
That is so cool. When I was a kid growing up, my mom and dad had what us kids called the hairy chair. And I never thought about it, but if any of us were sad, we just wanted to go sit in the hairy chair. And for some reason, because it's sort of a lounge kind of chair.
Oh, yeah.
And we always felt better. And here you are doing it. I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We have a chair here that has been in our family for, I don't even know how long. It's yellow, gold, and white stripes, and it's velvet, and it has a big black ornate, I forget what it's.
Wow.
And I go, and occasionally I'll sit in there and I feel really good because I know my dad sat in there, he's not here anymore. And it's kind of like, yeah. And what I'm wondering is, was there a difference in how you felt when you finished Live for Joy versus Chair of Joy, or is it the same?
Yeah, definitely a different energy. So Live for Joy is a book of motivation and inspiration and a lot of deep thought. It came from hundreds of hours of my own philosophical and personal emotional experience. So kind of like these, one sentence bits of gold that you can pick from 12 chapters to like what resonates with you today. And it's not just about joy, not everything, all the quotes are original as in for me, but it's not like everything is about joy and happiness. It's about tools to get you there, like spending time in nature, helping live for others, being a good global citizen, learning to treasure the endings of things, finding ways to encourage yourself, because we don't always have someone around who can do that for us. So it's a very grown-up active tool, and it's filled with art and photography. As you know, every page is like full color art or photography. So it's just such a different experience. It's a little bit higher, a little bit kind of like a meditation experience for adults. The Chair of Joy, which is, I loved both. So the Chair of Joy, though, is just that sort of bubbly. It lets the kid come out. So Live for Joy is great in real life as adults, taking it down a notch, finding our joy, finding peace, finding motivation. The Chair of Joy is that lets our kid come out, even if we're adults, we read it. So for me, it was very energizing. That would be the difference.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you think about the children's, I don't know if this is the right term, genre, is that, yeah, okay. It's unique in that you have the ability to influence someone at a very early age, and they can carry that with them as they get older.
Yeah, that's huge. And I feel like I literally want to get this book for my nieces and nephews, and if I could, like every other kid I know, because it's such a simple principle. And it really gives them hope, because I think that's what we all need, right? And especially when you're a kid, when you're having a really bad day, it feels like the world is really ending. So when you know that there's something within your power that you can do, that gives you hope. It gives you the feeling that, oh, I can take care of this myself. I don't have to wait for someone else to make me happy. I don't have to just get lost in a video game in order to feel better. I can actually do this and not be grumpy. I wish I could play this little video of this boy who was doing the testimonial this week. He was so cute. He was 11 years old. And he was just talking about how he thought this was such an amazing idea. And he did the process in the chair at the event. And his mom had mentioned to, that he had experienced a lot of bullying. And he's like, this is amazing. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I think every kid in my school should have a chair of joy. Like, this can make all the difference because it's going to, how did he say it? It was so sweet too. He's like, it's going to take like their madness away. And it's going to take away like their sadness and make them feel like life is good, And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So yeah, influencing in them, giving them tools that they can use forever, I think is really where it's at. I mean, if we can't bring hope to our kids, there's a real problem.
That's so true. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
Yeah, absolutely. DIANN?
Oh, my mind's just all over the place. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to order a book to have, and maybe several books in our church library. And I'm thinking, okay, I know another book I have to get for my family members.
Amazing.
It's so powerful. And I just think what you're doing is going to make a huge difference. And not just making a kid feel good at that moment. Okay, I'm happy now. But if we transfer that happiness, then I think it's going to help them also become kinder and kinder in the world.
Yeah, I mean, can't you see? I mean, this is my imagination's eye, but like an older brother teaching his little sister how to do that. Can you not see that, right? Like that actually makes me emotional because I'm like, that's where that pure heart in a child is, where they actually want to help and support. And if they had tools to do that instead of taking it out on other people or, I mean, how incredible is that?
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to mention too, just from an author's experience, so how this has been, what has been so unique about this experience is that the book is linked to an actual movement, to an actual chair, to actual products, to actual experience, that people can attend. We're going to start doing some of this virtually for people who can't even get, who maybe can't make it to the live events. But it gives the book a huge platform because, it's being sold at all these events. I think in May, Sherilyn is doing an event in Vegas. It's actually for HR people, but 60,000 people. And they have, I don't know, one of our most famous pop singers there. I just slipped my mind which one. And there's like 400 booths and it's like a 3-day thing. And that's another place where they're going to take the big chair, take the little chair, take the books. And because there's sort of this tangible experience, it really gives the book a huge push, like creating something physical that's not just the story. So from a business or promotional point of view, I think that's kind of genius.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
It is brilliant. Something else that I really like about it is the exercise. It includes meditation, and you're teaching children how that experience of meditation, because we hear as we get older, I'm a certified meditation teacher, but I can't meditate. I don't know how to meditate. You learn when you're young, and then you don't have this big fear. So I love everything you're doing, Ann.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just being able to get still, right? Even for 1 minute. I mean, because then that can be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You're right. It's a great transition into a lifestyle of learning that's something that you do when you need to get grounded.
Right. And children are think they're always on the computer, cartoons, they're just inundated that they don't know sometimes how to be still. I mean, that's what I run into when I'm in different schools. They're like, and young teachers are telling me how the kids are like scared because they're like, I hear these voices, but because she's trying to get them to use their imagination, and they're like, no, I need a cartoon to imagine. And I was like, that's so sad. So what you're doing has just so many ripple of positive effects. I'm just kudos to you.
Oh, well, thank you. And then kudos to Sherilyn at Joyly for the concept of the chair, and then such a great sort of tag team, because there's almost certainly, told me she definitely wants book 2. So the book 2 is going to be how the family takes the message to the kingdom.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
So bringing in the whole community into that experience.
Do you think we could get these books in front of our leaders, and maybe they could sit in the big chair and, and then have a powwow? I think that would be really great.
Literally. And like, if anyone knows anyone, Cheryl will go. She will jump in her van and she will drive from wherever she's at, which I think is Chicago, where she actually lives. I never know where she is. She will drive nonstop until she gets there. Any big events, politicians. When we were in New York, I think we were in DC first, and they had the mayor of DC come out into the mall, and they set up the chair and they did an interview. So it's been in the media on several different opportunities. And I think any politician who has a platform around wellness for children, against gun violence, in suicide prevention in children and teens, anyone who has that platform could really benefit from bringing this in. It's a great event. It's fun. People love it. And it's for parents too. That's the thing. It's not just a kids thing. It literally started as an adult thing. And so it's really like a transformational family tool and family event. So I think the more people who could spread this message, what a change, what an impact it could be if we get the right voices.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So it's hard to believe what do they think? What are your dogs' names, by the way?
They want a happy chair.
They want 3 dogs. What was his name? Potts.
Potts, yeah.
That's what close it. Apparently, my husband's in Boston. Apparently, UPS man is here. One moment.
Okay.
What a fun show this has been. Fun show.
It's hard when I'm by myself. Usually we have a tag team thing going, but today all 3 rescued mini schnauzers. Yeah, they were bred to bark apparently, but
that's what they do. That's what they do. They bark. They're part of the family. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're supposed to talk.
So as we close out the show, Ann, I'd love to have you talk a little bit more about the ways that you can help people, because I know that you help people in so many various ways and people want to connect with you. Tell us more about the value you can bring to our audience.
Absolutely. So, so my number one emphasis right now, and I was kind of transitioned out of just a primary focus on emotional wellness during COVID, and I've kind of gone back to something I was doing before and wanted to expand. And that's the Global Impact League. So that's on my website, annscottlin.com or globalimpactleague.com, same destination. And that's about bringing together people who've always wanted to change the world. They've always said, I want to create an after-school program for kids that are dealing with a specific issue in the same town that I grew up, when nobody had these programs available and they still need them. Or I want to create financing for women entrepreneurs in Africa, or I want to help build orphanages in India. It can be local, regional, national, global. And so what I offer with the Global Impact League is a place where I have cohorts of people. We come together in small groups, and it's basically work groups. I'm naturally a strategist. We bring in the tools, we bring in guest speakers who are experts in their field, and we literally build from the ground up. Not in 10 years, not when they retire, but now, because you don't have to have a lot of time and money to start making the connections that are going to help support you do this, to do whatever your passion is. I mean, I say we have today, so let's use it. Let's get that started. At some of my retreats, I've seen incredible things where people went from, day one, I could do something with horses and teen drug recovery, or I could do this totally different thing about helping children's literacy. By the fourth day, they have a business plan. They already scheduled to be on TV and podcasts. They have people they're making calls at night at the retreat, people who are willing to support them financially. And then me and my network, we're connecting them globally. So if they're not reinventing the wheel, because even if you have a local program, there's someone somewhere else on the planet who's doing something very similar. So why don't you guys coordinate and help support each other, as opposed to feeling like you're the only one and you're lost. So that's like my big passion project. That's probably the thing I'll do for the rest of my professional career, if not beyond. So that's the primary focus, and probably the one I'll share today. And then, of course, the show, which is a passion project. For those of you who've seen me on some of the other podcasts sharing my personal story, I'm spiritual, but growing up in a very extreme right-wing religious cult environment, and then being in Hollywood for 10 years as an actress, and how I followed my own spiritual path and want to create a place for people to feel like they can come together. Everything I do is about creating global conversations, which is why I got so excited when I met JACALYN, because I'm like, this is what she does. She creates global conversations. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Ann. I love your passion. How can people reach out?
Sure. So reach out on my website, annscottlin.com. You can email me directly anytime. It's contact@annscottlin.com. I open that email. My assistant does too, but I see everything that comes through. And if you reach out, I almost always be able to respond. And social media, if you like to just see what I'm putting out there in the world, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I think we're up to 160 plus followers right now. 160K, sorry. Followers.
Big difference there, Ann.
So jump in and see what's happening. I mean, I'm not going to go into it, but I have a free webinar tonight. So if you want to know what that is, jump on Instagram and just see what's happening like right now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Super excited.
And
Yeah,
thank you for having
sure.
me. I love this show, and this is just the best venue. It's
been our pleasure. Diane, how can people reach out to you?
So you can find me at www.diannfloydboehm.com, DIANN FLOYD BOEHM.com. I'd love to hear from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we close out, I just want to share my screen so people can see where on Amazon they can purchase Chair of Joy. Here it is. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
So Chair of Joy, hardback, paperback, and Kindle. If you search Chair of Joy, or if you go to my author page, and if you're on the audio version of this show, my name is spelled Ann, A-N-N-E, Scottlin, S-C-O-T-T-L-I-N, not like the country. If you just search me on Amazon, it'll pop up with both of my books, and you can also just find it that way.
Fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we're going to sign off now. Our next show is The Wise Ones with Red O'Loughlin. We will be back for that. And stay well and keep putting out all the great work you're doing. And
thank you.
Thank you.
And reach out to me, Diane. We'll catch up.
Oh, sounds great.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.